everyone, and welcome back. So today I want to talk about the book that I read and give a little review of it. Let's get started. In January, I joined a book club on Goodreads for supernatural romance, and the book that was decided on was called The First Grave on the Right by Darynda Jones. I hope I'm saying that correct. And I took 2 full pages worth of notes about what I thought. And apparently I had a lot of thoughts on it. But basically, I gave this 2 stars. It was mediocre at best. It wasn't an average book whatsoever, and that's what I would say a 3 is. But I think because it was a debut novel that I decided to give it 2 stars instead of 1, because I am more forgiving on a debut novel because get better with time. So I'm a little bit lenient, but it was not a book that I ever want to read again. I don't recommend it, and I'm very glad I got it from the library because that meant I could return it. And I know that's very harsh, but the thing is, I was expecting more, and it just let me down. And the biggest thing was the fact that it was a murder mystery. And I love murder mysteries. And I was so excited because it also had ghosts and the Grim Reaper. And I was like, this sounds amazing. This sounds like a book that I would love. Because murder mystery, supernatural. And then there's like romance in it too, which that's fine. And I was like, okay, you've got me. You've hooked me on this. Let's go on this journey. And I actually stopped reading this book, and for a long time I didn't pick it back up. Even though I was like halfway through the book, I didn't want to pick it back up. I just was not interested in the romance, and it became a bigger part of the book than I wanted it to. But I picked it back up. I finished it. In total, it's like 305 pages, I think. And I managed to read it in about 5 hours between the 2 days. And even after reading it, it took me a long time to gather my thoughts because I was so frustrated and let down by the expectations that I had for this book. I don't know. I remember finishing it and thinking, well, that just happened. Yay. And that sounds horrible. I hate when that happens. But it wasn't good. So, and I'm looking down at my notes. Oh, and I forgot. She's a PI. So this main character is a PI, Grim Reaper, which in this world, the Grim Reaper isn't necessarily someone who, like, comes after you to collect your soul. Instead, she acts more like a gateway to help ghosts move on from this world to the next. She acts like a portal. And because she can see ghosts, talk to them, find out all that stuff, she's using that skill in order to help the police solve crimes of like cold cases and just really hard ones that no one can figure out. And she just swoops in and is like, yeah, this happened. Doesn't necessarily say that's because the murder victim is standing right there and telling me all this stuff. And the plot of this book is that Charlie Davidson, yes, that is the main character's name. I think her full name is like Charlotte, but she goes by Charlie. She meets the ghost of a victim that she ends up getting called on a case for. And come to find out, we have 3 lawyers that were killed in the exact same way, but in different locations. And she's talking with these lawyers, trying to figure out what happened, while also helping the police figure out what happened, because obviously this has something fishy going on. Now that's the murder mystery. That is the main plot. What I wish had stayed the main plot. And then the subplot, or the romance part, is that she has been having nightly visits by the shadowy figure. She can't figure out who it is, and she tries to unravel the mystery of who this mystery night visitor is. And it ends up taking over the story a little bit, which would be fine if I actually ended up liking who the romance interest is, but I don't. I do not like this person at all, and that is why it made it very hard to read. And besides figuring out who the love interest is and the 3 lawyers, we also have some side characters, like her uncle, who is the head detective on the case. We have another cop, his name is Swoops, who kind of is her partner, kind of isn't. Like, they've got a love-hate relationship that's more hate than love. And you also get to see a little bit of Charlie's family, along with a neighbor of hers who actually acts as a secretary for her PI business, who is Cookie. Yes. So that is First Grave on the right in a snapshot. Now, without getting into too much detail, because I'm saving that, all of the characters, except for Charlie, and even Charlie had her moments, were quite flat. You could have substituted them for anybody. Didn't have too much substance to it. And the only reason why Charlie was kind of interesting was because you could kind of see the toll it takes to be a Grim Reaper. You can kind of see those repercussions in Charlie, and you get more of a sense of emotion from her than you do from the other characters. Another way to think of Charlie Davidson is as if someone took Jessica Jones and Winona Earp and tried to make them one person. That's the best way I would describe her, and her attitude towards others. Now, I have a quote from the book. Actually, I have 2 quotes from the book that kind of sums up some of the weird descriptions that are in there. Like, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's a lot. And this gives you a good sense of kind of the writing style. So if you like this and are interested in it, but if you're not, you're not. So, just pulling it up on my phone. Alright, prepare yourselves. My cell broke out into a chorus of Beethoven's Fifth, and I did the finding the needle in the haystack thing while cruising at 90 and a 75, marveling at how a cell phone could make itself so obscure in one tiny handbag. That is one sentence. There was a lot of commas. Yeah. Very descriptive. Very uniquely descriptive. for basically saying trying to find a phone in a handbag. Now, here's another one. I awoke at the butt crack of dawn while the call of nature urging me out of bed. After my fall, however, I felt like I had downed a fit of Jack after tripping on a planter, stubbing my pinky toe on a step stool, and running face first into the door jamb. I eased onto the toilet and reviewed my agenda for the day with the tinkling melody playing in the background. Thank goodness I had a minimalistic attitude towards house decor. If anything else had stood between me and the porcelain throne, I might not have lived to see my next birthday. Yeah, I don't mind it. It's definitely different from what I've read for other descriptions, but I kind of found it to be a little fun and quirky, so I accepted it. For the murder mystery, it got solved very quickly, and it was basically handed on a silver platter. Cookie ended up doing a lot of the legwork and research for Charlie, so that happened off screen. And solving it, actually catching the person that did all this, just was too quick and too easy. And I actually got to a new chapter and had to go back and reread because I realized that it ended and I didn't realize that it had ended. I had to go back and I was like, wait, that was it? That's it? That's done? This was supposed to be some big mystery, and it was lackluster. And for the rest of the book, because this happened, I would say 2/3 of the way it got solved, maybe even like 3/4. I'll give it 3/4 of the way it got solved. But then the rest of it was the romance subplot. And the author decided to throw in a twist with the romance subplot at the very end, and I was like, and the last bit of the book was it started fleshing out for a second book without really fleshing out the book that it was in. And I didn't like the subplot. I didn't like the romance. So I was like, really? Really? This is what you're leaving me with? This is... You can hear and see how frustrated this gets me because it could have been better. And I was so interested in it. And in the spoilers where I can give more detail, I'll talk about parts that I think could have been changed, could have been improved on, because it had the potential. It just fell a little short, fell a lot short. Oh yeah, I started writing down all of the different plots that are within this book because there was so much going on. And I realized that while there's a main plot, which is the murder mystery for the lawyers, there's like 7 plots going on. And they all have various degrees of becoming main plots and then subplots. And some of these could have just been chucked out or left for another book because they were not really fleshed out. And the ending was lackluster on all of them. But if you can tie up the plot so that the reader is content, then they won't be frustrated at the end thinking back like, wait, did this ever get solved? Wait, really? That's how it's gonna be? Like, that's the last thing you want a reader to do, is scrutinize the work to the point where you're like, what was even the point? What was the point of this one? We didn't need it. Throw it out. I think I'm going to conclude my non-spoiler review at this point. Again, 2-star. I don't recommend it. No. I really hope that her other work is better. And I think I might read another book by her that's published way out from when this was. If she has any other work. I haven't actually looked it up. But if you guys made it to the end of this rather long video, I didn't mean for it to be that long. I got on a couple tangents. Thank you guys. Leave your comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys think. And before you guys go, I want you to remember to be your own brand of beautiful and never forget that. Love you guys. Mwah. And before you guys go, I want you to remember to be your own brand of beautiful. Never forget that. Oh my god. I forgot which eye I want. Oh. Okay.